Good evening, Upper Darby. Can we please stand for Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We please stand, moment of silence, prisoner of wars, men and women missing in action. Thank you. Secretary Billups, can we have roll call, please?
Yes. Counselor Hayman?
Here.
Counselor Blackwell? Counselor Andrusco?
Here.
Counselor Sadiq? Here. Counselor Faralia? Here. Counselor Silva?
Here.
Counselor President Burke?
Here.
Counselor Billups is here. Counselor Wagner?
Here.
Counselor Tunis?
Here.
Vice President Counselor Wentz?
Here.
And we have the Honorable Mayor Barbara Ann Keffer. We have Solicitor Kilkenny. We have Alexis, and I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Hi, Maria O'Neill. And we have those two wonderful officers in the back. And I apologize, I don't know your name.
That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you,
That's it.
Secretary Billups. Rules of meeting decorum. Upper Darby residents have the opportunity to speak for 3 minutes. Residents are prohibited from making threats, using profanity, or acting in a manner that would impede or prevent the conduct of business of this meeting. Public forum should not exceed 30 minutes. Okay?
I'm not doing it first.
So we'll go to approval of the May minutes. We'll do them together. Can I get approval of the committee meeting minutes of May 4th and the council meeting minutes of May 25th?
I'll make a motion
Okay?
for both.
Second.
We got first by Mr. Hammond and second by Councilwoman Blackwell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, thank you. Public forum.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Is there anybody on YouTube?
So I believe Josh is on YouTube, correct? Yeah, but that's down the road a little bit, right? So I believe Josh is on YouTube. I think,
Can we get confirmation on that, President Burke?
sure. Mayor Keffer, is Josh the only employee and maybe Mike Galante, or is Josh the only employee on YouTube tonight?
So not Mike Galante, Vince Rongioni may be on,
Okay.
and Tim Bernhardt may be on.
Okay.
Can we get confirmation whether Mr. Reggione is on?
Are you going to ask for confirmation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, well, I want to make a motion for him to be removed.
I'll second that motion.
Solicitor, we have a motion for Mr. Rongione to be removed from YouTube. We have a first and second.
From Zoom.
From Zoom, I'm sorry. Solicitor?
Okay, so my understanding, council made a motion, passed that Mr. Rongione forfeited his office, asked that he be removed from the dais. I'm not involved with either part of the litigation, but my understanding is that, council filed a declaratory judgment action, basically stating their legal opinion that Mr. Rongione forfeited his office. The administration disagrees, is countering that. And until a court rules that Mr. Rongione has forfeited his office, he's in office, but there's no stay or interim proceeding or exigent proceeding has been issued. That being said, it is council's, it's council president, and council obviously controls their meeting. This is their meeting whatsoever. You asked that Mr. Rongione be removed from the dais. The mayor is I guess asking that he be removed, that he be on YouTube. I would have to look if the charter actually speaks to this issue whatsoever, but it's, it would be my opinion that Mr. Rangione has, until a court says that Mr. Rangione is gone, Mr. Rangione has a right to participate. If a court rules and agrees with council's declaratory judgment action that he's gone, he's gone.
Council President Burke, if I may.
Councilwoman Wagner, go ahead.
Again, I understand, and I respect the fact that Mr. Kilkenny is, again, giving us advice, but he has said that he has a conflict as to this issue. So is this advice or is this an opinion? Because at the end of the day, what I'm suggesting, and I think what the motion that I seconded was that Mr. Rangione is free to watch this from YouTube as the rest of the members or the citizens and other people who apparently choose to watch this council meeting, who don't even live in Upper Darby. But he may not participate via Zoom, and needs to remove himself from that, and again, can watch this as a citizen on YouTube with no involvement in the meeting. I also believe there's a motion on the floor, and it has been seconded.
Would anybody else from council like to speak on the motion on the floor? Okay. So, Solicitor, anything?
I gave my.
You gave your,
opinion.
you gave your
I'm
opinion,
not
okay.
here to argue with
Okay, so Solicitor Kilkenny, thank you for your opinion. So we have a motion on the floor, first and second. Give me a roll call on that motion, please.
So for the record, just so I understand, we are doing a roll call vote to remove CAO Vincent Rangione from Zoom.
Correct.
Okay.
He, obviously, your opinion is he can participate as a citizen or watch as a
Yes.
citizen,
He-
not in the CAO.
He can watch as a citizen, yes. He cannot participate, which is why I made the distinction
Just
between.
clearing that up.
I get it, and I know, and I'm not arguing with you. I'm just suggesting, or for clarity, is that I am making a motion, or what we're saying is
Motion's on the
that
floor.
he,
Excuse me, the motion's on the floor, and we're going to a roll call. Thank you.
and again, for clarity, that he sign off of Zoom, he not be on Zoom, and he can watch as a resident of Upper Darby Township.
That is correct. Thank you, Councilwoman Wagner.
Okay. Counselor Hayman,
No.
Counselor Blackwell,
No.
Counselor Andrewsko,
Yes.
Counselor Sadiq,
No.
Counselor Faralia. Yes. Counselor Silva,
Yes.
Counselor Burke,
Yes.
Counselor Billups is a no. Counselor Wagner,
Yes.
Counselor Tunis,
No.
and Vice President Counselor Wentz.
Yes.
6-5.
Okay. So we'll go to. Okay, okay. Sorry.
I said he's still there. It still says Vincent Rangione, so I would like to see that sign off.
Okay, we'll give it time.
Doesn't our charter state that we have to have the CEO here until he's been removed?
It's my opinion, we don't have a CAO right now,
That's your opinion.
All right,
That's your opinion.
and that's what council voted on.
It was an illegal motion.
excuse me.
You guys don't
Counselors,
read. You guys don't read.
counselors, please, please.
President, if I may, I see we're not going to have compliance. I would like to actually make another motion at this time. I see Mr. Bly in the audience, and 9.2 on the agenda tonight is the Cultural Competency Committee and a resolution celebrating Juneteenth Independence Day. I know Mr. Bly well. I know that he,
Point of order. What part of the meeting are we in right now?
I'm sorry, I don't
order.
interrupt you.
It's point of
Excuse
order.
me, Councilman Tunis, you're out of order.
What part of the agenda are we in?
Councilman Tunis, you're out of order, and Councilwoman Wagner has the floor. She asked for the floor. Do not interrupt.
Anyway.
Actually, when he says
President
point of
Burke,
order, he's not out of order.
Again. Thank you, thank you, President Burke. Again, I see Mr. Bly in the audience, and I know he was very integral. Get him, that's it. Brian, that was-
Another-
you would have it removed.
That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. Another word from the audience, you will be removed. End of discussion. I don't care who it is. I'm done. Excuse me? I said another word. We can play this all night. All night. But you're never going to have the last word. Never. Now, the floor is Councilwoman Wagner.
Thank you. Again, say it again, Mr. Bly is here. He was very, very integral in bringing Juneteenth to Upper Darby. Usually, we do these things in celebration of things such as Juneteenth before public forum. As I see, he is here, as is Brian Taylor from Taylor Made Vets. I am going to make a motion to move 9.2 of the meeting up until now before public hearing.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to move the resolution 25-22, first and second. Solicitor Kilkenny, do you have a problem with this?
Before you take action on the resolution, though, you will have to allow for public comment, just to let you know,
Because of the home rule charter.
and the sunshine
First.
law.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a motion on the
Thank you.
floor
Yeah.
to move 25-22 ahead of schedule, first and second. We have anybody from council have anything to say? Please raise your hand.
The first thing.
Okay. So,
If it goes in.
excuse me. Vice President Wentz, go ahead.
Just to clarify, then it'll go in right after public forum.
No, it's going on now. Right now. It's not going on before public forum.
Question.
The motion on the floor is to put it in front of public forum.
I understand.
Okay.
Can we do a friendly amendment
Well, just give me a second.
in compliance with the home
For a
rule charter?
resolution to be legal, there has to be an opportunity for the public to comment. I'm just letting you
Yes.
know.
So,
You can ignore me. but-
no, I'm not ignoring you.
Yeah.
I'm going to allow, I heard your solicitor, that if we move this forward, we will have the ability of anybody in public to speak about Resolution 25-22. I believe that's what you said.
Yep.
Okay. So the motion on the floor right now is to move it forward. So, Mr. Tunis, I know you had your hand up, and then Mr. Heyman had his hand up after that. So, Mr. Tunis, go ahead.
Just based on your history, have you checked with the Cultural Competency Committee, the chair, and why she even brought forward the resolution before? Listen, I'm speaking. Relax
I'm
here.
sorry, you love to interrupt people all the time.
Councilwoman Wagner, please. Councilwoman Wagner.
Please, can I finish?
Councilman
Because
Tunis
it's something
has
that
the
actually I firsthand understand. I'm not just going to say Juneteenth. I understand the history behind it. So did you check with Councilwoman Billups before you even decided to make any of these motions? Because we do things by committee, and that's from your leadership. So what you're doing right now is hijacking the committee, robbing those members from making a decision. It's on the agenda. It's, I believe, is in the spot that she reached out to the solicitors through her committee. So I don't understand why it can't
Yeah, that's-
just be placed on the agenda.
That's a great point, Councilman Tunis, because I must have missed the email when it went to the solicitor, because I wasn't copied.
There's no rule that says you have to be.
On every committee,
Yeah, you
the
were.
president was on it.
Yeah, you were.
I was on it?
Yeah, you were.
I don't
It
believe you
said-
check your email either.
Maybe you didn't check your
Okay,
email,
okay.
but you were on
I
it
will
because
double check.
I always CC you on
Okay,
there.
that's fine.
You know, and can I say,
Go ahead, go ahead.
I'm making a motion to adjourn it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. This is like totally out of control. You know, I get it, you know, whatever the agenda is. Yeah, I think you guys keep missing the point. You know, for me, yes, we need this resolution to be said because of diversity and inclusion, because that's what Upper Darby is supposed to stand for. Yes. You know, we need it to be heard. And Mr. Bly, you know, he was the one that did introduce the whole Juneteenth, and I appreciate that. But this is getting out of control, guys. This is getting out of control. You know, you guys act like a bunch of fifth graders. I'm sorry.
Thank you, sir.
Please make sure you record that you guys are acting like a bunch of fifth graders.
Okay. All right. And Councilman Tunis, thank you. I let the chair speak. That's fine. And I'm going to go back to Councilman Heyman. Go to Councilman Heyman now.
President Burke, just to add to that, I feel extremely uncomfortable voting on this matter and, until we hear from the committee. Until we hear from the committee in full, I feel uncomfortable voting on this matter.
Okay.
This is not an attack on any particular member of council. And lastly, I want to repeat something that I said in the previous meeting. Can we please, this is to all of my fellow council members, regardless of what side you are on, please stop yelling into the microphone. I understand that we get passionate and get upset. Please, the microphone amplifies your voice. Just speak into it, even if you're interrupting somebody, but please don't do that.
Thank you, Councilman Heyman. I believe Vice President Wentz, I need to go back to you on, I believe you had some other words to say.
Yeah, I just, actually, as a question to Councilwoman Wagner, who made the motion, are you okay with a friendly amendment to move it to after public forum?
I mean, I don't, and Solicitor, you can tell me, I don't think it matters, right, if it's before or after.
You need to have, per the charter, so per the charter, there should be public forum first before there's action.
And that's fine.
And per the sunshine law, there at least has to be comment on an official action of council.
That's
So
fine.
what we'll recommend.
Then
You can move it up first thing on the agenda right after, but I recommend you do it right after.
that's fine. I have no problem with doing that.
All right.
But,
So,
you know,
so I'm going to move, Solicitor, I'm going to move 9.2, Cultural Competency Committee, to after the public forum.
That's perfect.
As-
It'll
as-
be legal. Yes,
Okay. So we don't need a vote on that. I'm going to make that decision.
you can do that.
Thank you very much. So we're going to go to public forum. Public forum, thank you. I'm sorry, go
Wait,
ahead.
before public forum, we have rules of decorum and then.
I already did that.
approval.
Already did
Oh,
that.
and we did minutes. I'm sorry.
We already had
My
the
bad.
approval.
My
So
bad.
we're going to public forum.
I'm sorry.
Already read everything. Okay.
And since there's so many speakers, we're doing 3 minutes.
18 speakers, 3 minutes each.
An official time.
So just to be clear, just to be clear, the rules of meeting decorum, the last line says public forum should not exceed 30 minutes. At the 30-minute mark, when we start, and 30 minutes later, I will ask council to approve longer than 30 minutes. If they approve it, then we'll continue on with the rest of the public forum. If not, we'll finish at 30 minutes.
It's now-
Secretary Phillips, please. Thank you.
It's now 7:20.
Thank you.
First is Rick Beaver, please. Yes, please.
Please come
If you
to the
can.
mic. Come to the mic, your address and name, please. Yes, sir.
Yes.
My name is Rick Beaver. I'm a retired postal employee, 33 years, 32 and a half years with post office. I've been a resident of 420 Wheelock Road for 34 years. I moved here May of 1988, and what I wanted to bring up is the Second Ward Playground is undergoing construction, and there's no dog park. And I was speaking to some other residents that said there's other playgrounds with no dog park. I know that doesn't seem very significant, but I have something more important to bring up. That's the one point of contention I have, that if there's no dog park, the dogs are going to get loose and bite the kids, and we have lawsuits and so on. But what I wanted to bring up is we got a problem with the homeless in this town. There's a woman, a 59-year-old woman, I don't want to say who she is or where she is, but on the railroad tracks, and there's more homeless people, and there was a homeless woman sitting on my street corner near the Holy Ghost House of Prayer. Sorry, I'm nervous. I'm saying there's no place for the homeless people. Women are getting sodomized and beaten up, and that's right. And something has to be done about it. I housed a 59-year-old woman. I spent $1,000 housing this woman, and she's back on the railroad tracks getting sodomized. And when you go to a project home where they have to take you, you get sodomized in there too. And don't let the cane fool you. I just want people to feel sorry for me.
Thank you. Next is S. Long.
Good evening. My name is Sharon Long, and I live on Guilford Road. As a matter of fact, it comes on the heels of what this gentleman here was saying. I'm coming in reference to what we call Doggy Park. I don't remember if it ever had a real name, but it's between Guilford Road and Aberdeen, and Millbank is in front of it. It is a block-long patch of grass, and at one point it was a beautiful park. If you look in Upper Darby's historical pictures, at one point 70-some years ago, it was a beautiful park. It had boxwood hedges, and it had benches, and it was nice. Now it is just disgusting. It stinks. It is half the time overgrown. And I'm understanding it's supposed to get mowed every other week or so, every 2 weeks. I'm not an expert, but I happen to know that in order to call something mowed, it has to actually have a level to it. This is chopped. And mostly it's because it's so thick and dense, it's not really grass, they're weeds. And they don't do anything else after that. It doesn't get mowed anymore, it doesn't get swept, it doesn't get raked. So the grass, thick with clumps, sit on top of it, and it's just one after the other. I sent pictures, I'm not really that technical, and I didn't have time or the money to get them printed out, but I did send pictures of it via Instagram to Upper Darby's page. I don't know how that works, so at some point somebody can find it, or I can email them later, but I did take pictures and videos. It's filthy. I live down the block, and I get halfway up the street, and I can smell it, because AKA Doggy Park. As the gentleman earlier said, we don't have a dog park. We don't have a safe place to walk our dogs. I went down to the AA field, much to the chagrin of my husband, and I was scared to death. And I had my pepper spray with me, and I had my screamer alarm and my keys, and I was still terrified because at least at one end, there were at least 10 or 15 junkies, and I mean junkies, I saw the debris, all the way over there where the Furniture Mecca is, right in view of Church Lane and the parking lot at 6 o'clock in the evening. And there were at least 15 of them. I walked around more towards the stairs going up to the walk-in center, and there were 5 or 6 more sitting on the benches doing God knows what. I came around the other side and towards where the children's little playground is, and unfortunately I happened to catch the end of a transaction. And I don't want to go into it, but it was awful. I didn't want to see that, but that's what goes on. And I was like, I don't want to be down here. I don't feel safe. And this is at 6 o'clock in the evening, but this is all I have. I have this filthy little park that could be better. I'm asking that to win on a regular basis. I'm a 60-year-old woman. I can't exactly go up there and rake it with my little plastic rake that I use to clean up my, little 4-foot patch of grass. I don't have a
Excuse me,
lawnmower.
Excuse me, Ms. Long, your 3 minutes are up, and I'm sure the mayor and her administration and team will take a look at that for you, so.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Because it needs, if it was prettier, I think it would be a showcase for Stonehurst, and I think it would bring pride.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Burke, can I just say one thing? Just one moment.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's fast. If you have any photos, please send them to requests@upperdarby.org.
Okay.
And give your description, and then the township will be able to send you back a reference number so you can follow up on it. Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I just didn't have time.
Okay, thank you. Secretary Billups, please.
Yes. Next is Jim Smith.
Good evening. Jim Smith, 5040 Fairway Road, Drexel Hill. I was the finance director for Upper Darby Township for 31 years. I retired in 2018. I'm not a CPA, and apparently neither is your last finance director. I've been watching the council meetings for past months. They have been very disturbing and have contained a great deal of misinformation coming from the CAO. On February 2nd, 2022, Treasurer David Heyman reported that $6 million of ARP funds were missing. In his report, he did not include the restricted funds. He was correct on both notes. Since then, he has shut it down and stopped giving reports. Very disappointing. He did violate Section 602 of the Home Rule Charter. I reviewed the Markham report. That report certainly generated many questions and helped me prove that the ARP funds were in fact used without approval. On 12/10/21, $12 million was transferred from the Pliget account, which contained all of the ARP funds, to Santander 5237 account. $6 million of those funds were ARP funds. Within a few days, $10 million came out of the Santander account. The ARP funds were used in December for general fund expenses, for sure, possibly for the pension checks, which is not allowed. On Friday, 2/4/22, the balance in the Wells 9773 account was $63,000. On Monday, 2/7, the day of the meeting, $3.5 million was transferred out of the account into the Pliget ARP account. I wonder where the $3.5 million came from. Maybe the capital account, which is not allowed. On Friday, 2/4, the balance in Santander 5237 was $983,000. On Monday, 2/7, $3.3 million was transferred out of the account into the Pliget ARP account. I wonder where the $2.4 million came. Maybe the capital account, which is not allowed. Wow, $6 million just appeared in this account, in these two accounts in one day. Just happened to be Monday, February 7th, the day of the meeting. On Exhibit 21, January 22, shows an ending balance of a negative $71,000, which means you are sure that for sure the ARP funds were used in lieu of a TRAN, which is also not allowed. On Exhibit 8A, the December balance included $1,947,000 from the Highway Fund, which is a restricted fund, as well as the Citizens HUD account of $3,395,000 and the parking meter account of $743,000. None of those accounts should be included. The total of those three accounts is $6 million. So therefore, $6 million of ARP funds was spent in December.
Mr. Smith, your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I give one closing statement? Under Home Rule Charter, Section 504C, the CAO shall keep distinct accounts of all sums received from other sources. The Markham report says ARP funds were commingled with general fund at all times. That is a violation.
Next is Rich Paparo. I'm sorry. Sorry. It was someone before you. I'm so sorry. Joelle Williams.
Hi, how are you? So my name is Joelle Williams, and I live at 7060 Aberdeen Road. And I just want to bring in something to your attention that happened next door to my house on May 31st. I noticed an animal crying outside on the deck of my neighbor's house. They left their animal, their dog outside there, and it was trapped under a ladder in that 100 and some degree heat we had. I called 911. 5 times I called 911, crying to them to please send somebody out. An hour passed. I called the first phone call at 1:35. The last phone call was at 2:38, telling him that the animal had died, that she was dying. I had to sit there and listen to that animal cry and suffer in the heat, dying. And I'm calling, begging for help. There was nothing I could do. 5 phone calls to our 911. I found out because that they had transferred the call to our call center, the police call center, who called animal control, who never bothered to show up. When the sergeant realized that he was not coming out, he sent an officer out, but by then she was dead. There was nothing I could do. I had the ladder there, but I have a bad hip. I couldn't climb it. As soon as the officers arrived, they climbed up and they tried to help the dog, but it was too late. She was dead. Nothing was done. Animal control showed up. He said to me, well, I was busy. That is not an answer. I have never been so ashamed to live in Upper Darby in my whole life. This is ridiculous. Something should have been done. I know they shouldn't have left that animal on that deck, and it was trapped under a ladder. But I made that phone call in plenty of time. Animal control took an hour and a half to show up. I stood out there from 1:35 to 2:38 when the last phone call when that dog died. I want some answers. I called the mayor. She wouldn't return my phone call. She had her assistant return my phone call. I want answers. I want to know if the policy is going to change. If the animal control cannot take that phone call, he should be rerouting it to an officer, not saying he's en route or not doing anything. That animal should not have died. That was the worst thing I have ever heard in my life. I was so traumatized. I couldn't sleep for nights. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard that dog crying, and I could do nothing. And I'm an animal lover, and that was the worst. I'm sorry. Something needs to be done in our township. We need an animal rescue. We need some, animal control needs to answer to, if they can't do this, what's going on? Why? I'm sorry. There was no reason for that animal to die, and I think everyone should be aware of it. And I'm not letting this go. Something needs to be done. Tell me what I need to do to get something in our township to help.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. I hope the mayor and administration can get back to you.
Oh,
Or at
I
least
wanted to speak to the mayor
to
on
have-
this, and I feel, since I've lived in this township long enough, and I am a resident, if I call on something like this crying to the mayor's office, that she should return my phone call. And I'm calling her out on this. I'm sorry. I've seen you talk to other people. I called you. You should have returned that phone call on something like this.
I hope we have a future healthy conversation with you. Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Thank you. Next is Rich Paparo.
Council, Mr. Mayor, my name is Rich Paparo. I live on the unit block of Oakley Road. I'm here tonight to discuss about truck parking. I mean, signs for no trucks been up since 1950s. Trucks have changed since then. Doctors, lawyers, people who have SUVs, people who have boats. Now, just in the last week, I've gotten $100 worth of tickets. I lived on Oakley Road for 30 years, and for 30 years, I've had a pickup truck. I came down about 8 months ago. I talked to the mayor. She assured us that they were going to try to stop the ticketing until there was some kind of a meeting for the truck parking. That worked for a while. Now, all of a sudden, they got parking authority, coming around and ticketing vehicles. Now, I'm not against the commercial vehicles. There are dump trucks, there are utility trucks, but I got a F-150 pickup truck. It takes up no more parking than my neighbor's cars. I park in front of my house every evening. I don't take up no more room than any other car. And yet, I got $100 worth of tickets just this week. So, I'd like somebody to discuss this about the size of pickup trucks or something, but I mean, I don't have a commercial vehicle. There's no markings on my truck. It's a standard F-150. I just don't get it. While I'm being penalized for parking my personal vehicle in front of my house. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian. Yeah, I was going to say that.
Councilwoman
Mr.
Farrell.
Pepper, I did speak to you on the phone, and I am working with the solicitor's office in an ordinance for that. It's just taking a little bit more time. But we can ask our parking authority if they could slack up a little bit on tickets, because that's where they're coming from. Okay? You'll tell them? Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Farrell.
Next is Brian Taylor.
Good evening, everyone. Brian Sharif Taylor. My address is 7258 Lamport Road. I'm also the founder of a nonprofit 501c3, Taylor Made Vets. My first question is, there's an elderly woman on the 400 block of Marshall and Grace Road. There was a telephone pole that was knocked down more than a month ago, but this residue from this accident is still laying in her yard. She is over 81 years old. She is on a breathing machine and she can't get any help. She says she contacted the township. She's also contacted PICO, but no one has came to her home. My second question is, during the meeting that was held Monday, I proposed a question about the 70 registered sex offenders that are in the 19082 zip code with school being out. I don't like to be a nasty person, but the one thing that actually pissed me off was when the mayor got up and left before individuals within this area were able to speak. Not here to argue with anyone that's here, but I want to ask you this question: what is more important, party or community? You have to think about that when you do any type of decisions, because these people are depending on you. And a lot of times they just need that type of voice just to make sure that they feel secure. That is one of the things that I found with doing nonprofit work. A lot of times people just want a conversation that lets someone that knows that they care. And when they see your face, they want to have a conversation, even if it's a small conversation, even if it's something that you really don't want to hear. They want to hear that voice. They want to feel that comfort in their lives, because sometimes a lot of these people feel like no one cares. That's my time.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor.
Thank you.
I heard you say PICO. A lot of times, a lot of people think every pole in the township is PICO. A lot of them are Verizon. Just to
Well, I'm going to
point that
say
to make sure
this
that,
accident happened more than a month ago.
yeah, but I'm just saying.
The
they
residue from this has been laying in this woman's yard, and she's frightened. She's elderly and she's scared. And this is why I'm bringing this to your attention.
Okay.
I'm not really sure who is responsible for what, but you are elected officials. There you go.
I was about to say.
She is
What's
in
her
the 6th
address?
district. Her address is 436 Grace Road. The residue is off of Marshall. When you hit that alleyway, you'll see the broken pole
Grace
along
Road.
with the line.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
436 Grace Road?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Siddiq, go ahead.
Yeah, this is my district. I did talk prior this meeting, Mr. Taylor, that regarding this issue, and I make a note. I would like
May I
to,
say something?
Just let Councilman Siddiq finish, please. Go ahead.
I will going to see tomorrow. I'll take care of this issue.
Okay. Siddiq, there's a placard on each pole. You can call Pico and give them the number on the pole, or you can call Verizon, and they'll tell you exactly if it's a Verizon or a Pico pole.
Okay.
Okay?
I'll find out and I'll take care of it tomorrow.
Okay.
Did I use all my time?
No, go ahead.
But you just did.
Well, I interrupted.
But he
so-
interrupted.
And
He
I'm
interrupted.
gonna let you go.
Yeah.
Mr.
One
Taylor.
last request. When is the POWMI flag going to be flown on top of the municipal building like the way it was before? Told you this is not for my own personal gain. There is still the number of 17 suicides within the veteran community worldwide. Just a small little symbol is just a sign of someone still loves you, someone still cares. That is my time.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you. Olivia Taylor.
Olivia Taylor, 204 Kent Road. You know what, after witnessing when I first walked in, first of all, Tunis, you're not the spokesperson for Juneteenth. You're Liberian, okay? Liberian first. You don't have a clue about our Black history. And as far as the Blacks, excuse me, you're interrupting my time. Okay, you don't have a clue about Black history. And as far as the Blacks on this council, they are embarrassing to the Black community, okay? Now, my next point, last weekend, our police officers did not have gas, okay? I'd like to know how many cars were on the street and versus the ones that wasn't on a weekend. That question is to you, Mayor.
So, Ms. Taylor,
Pause my time.
normally, this isn't a back and forth.
I just asked a question.
I'm not done talking.
You know, the safety of the township.
I'm not done
Ms. Taylor,
talking.
Ms. Taylor,
Excuse me, stop interrupting,
Taylor,
Brian.
Ms. Taylor.
I want to, stop interrupting.
Mayor
We can-
Keffer's trying to
let's
answer your
let her
question.
talk. We can talk without you interrupting.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's your meeting, you are supposed to control it, so.
And
My
you know
time is
what,
paused.
Barbara Ann?
Yeah, so anyway, so I saw a lot of the things that were on social media. Counselor Wagner called me over the weekend too. So that's why I had asked our Superintendent Bernhardt to zoom in case somebody asks a question. This is a public safety issue, and it's important that people hear the facts. So I don't know
So you're
if you're
telling me
on
it
here,
wasn't-
excuse me, I don't know if you're on here, Superintendent Bernhardt, but this would be a good time to address this issue.
Yes, I am, Mayor. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. Hi, Ms. Taylor. How are you? So
I'm good.
we were advised late Sunday night that the pumps at the township were not operational. The command staff had been monitoring that. We're monitoring it and we're notified. In conjunction with that, the weekend supervisors put a plan in place. They resolved it Monday morning where the pumps were fixed. But at no point was there any interruption to public safety, and the officers in the cars were on the street. They were on the street Saturday, Sunday, and Sunday night into Monday when the problem was resolved.
How many cars were on the street during the weekend, knowing that we just had a major shootout on South Street? Do you not think an active shooter can't come up here? I mean, after she left the township wide open during the riot, any and everything is up here now. How many cars were on the street over the weekend?
But again, Ms. Taylor, I would prefer not to answer that. I can assure you that.
Of course not, of course
Listen,
not, of
just let
course
me
you're not.
explain-
Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna move on. I'm moving on. You're not gonna answer. I'm gonna move on. And my last statement is President Burke, okay? You keep leaning to Kilcuddy for advice when he specifically said he has a conflict of interest to what's happening in this room. But yet you still ask him for advice and he still gives it. And it needs to stop. It needs to stop. And I applaud Lisa for the prior meeting requesting that you all get your own counsel, because they have done nothing but mislead this council, and yet you still continue to ask for advice, and it needs to stop.
I think it's,
Just give 1 second. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
think it's truly disgusting President Burke let that comment be said. Yes, my family's from Liberia, which is a West African nation founded by freed slaves. All right, and many of our population in Upper Darby is Liberian. She should be heard.
I'm trying to give you the time, Councilman Tunis, I'm trying to give you some time so people can hear you, okay?
All right.
I'm not,
And I'm really disappointed in President Burke for letting that, you not only let down many residents in Upper Darby.
Ms.
but
Taylor, quiet, please.
many Liberian residents. And that's something that's really unfortunate that was allowed to be said. One of the greatest things that happened to my family was coming to America, and they raised me in Upper Darby, and they made me a great person. So that's something that.
Ms. Taylor, that's enough. Please. Sergeant Arms, please, remove Ms. Taylor, please. I got it, okay?
You didn't put him out. You didn't say anything about him to the sergeant arms when he yelled out.
Ms. Taylor, please, please.
I don't need you
Go ahead.
behind me, sir. Back up on me. I don't need this unwanted attention.
President Burke, it is true that there was other people
And I-
screaming out of
and
the
I
other
quite-
side.
Please.
That's not fair. Get from behind me.
Everyone does.
Ms.
that to
Taylor,
the
quiet, please. Ms. Taylor,
You see this
quiet.
unwanted attention I'm getting?
Ms. Taylor, please.
Over here next to Tim when he screamed out.
Ms. Taylor, you had your 3 minutes, you spoke, please sit down.
I am. I asked.
Ms. Taylor.
Behind me.
Now, hold on.
Can I make a motion?
Go ahead.
I want to make a motion to adjourn this meeting. This is ridiculous.
I'm going to second that.
We have a motion on the floor first and second to adjourn this meeting.
No, you know what? You guys,
Nope.
this doesn't make, no, why are we going to adjourn the meeting?
I mean, you have the majority and you want to do what you want to do. Adjourn the
gonna
meeting
adjourn
for
the
what?
meeting?
We have a
Let's
motion.
continue the meeting.
Excuse me, Councilman Siddiq, we have a motion on the floor.
Why we
We
going to
have
adjourn the meeting?
Discussion on the motion, sir.
Yeah, we'll have a discussion on the motion. Raise your
Thank you.
hands. No, not at all. We're just going to sit here for 2 minutes. Listen, we're going to sit here, quiet. Alexis, I'd like to speak to you, please.
This is ridiculous.
All right, so what happens to the public hearing? Does it just get carried over to the next meeting?
You'd have to re-advertise it. If I could just offer some helpful advice. Sometimes it's public forum. You know, I've had.
Can I show you something? Just need your thoughts on it. I have a new.
I have your number now. Sorry to get back to you. And then by the time,
I have a resident. This has been going on for 2 weeks.
you do clean out.
I did a, she
know the
lives
address?
upstairs. Yeah, it's 114 Pilgrim. 114 Pilgrim. They did go out and give they put the ordinance on the door, apparently, is what they're telling me. But then nobody's been picking it since. And it's attracting rodents and people.
They haven't been picking it up. Did they move?
It was the people below. So that's one of those duplexes over behind the rooms.
Oh, is that like near the swim club?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like up the street.
Okay.
So if we could just get someone to go out and then find them.
Find the landlord? Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Could you text me that picture? Okay. Thank you.
Please, we're going to. I'm going to ask Councilwoman Allen to rescind the motion to adjourn this meeting to finish public forum in a,
Public forum, but everybody's got to play nice, so I'm going to do it again.
okay. Councilman Farrelly? Is that okay to continue with the public forum? Okay, thank you.
So just to be clear, the Councilwoman Farrelly rescinded her motion to adjourn the meeting, and whoever seconded agrees with that.
I agree with it till the end of public forum.
Clearing up the record. That's the order for the hearing, yeah. Yeah.
Secretary Wilks, thank you.
Sure. Next is Marion Minnick.
Hello, my name is Marion Minnick. I live at 1204 Wad Avenue, Drexel Hill. Democrats are building the future of Upper Darby. Because of our wonderful Democratic Mayor Barbara Ann Keffer and her administration, as well as Democrats in Upper Darby School Board, we are seeing labor do what it does best, tearing down old, dilapidated structures of the past and building incredible new state-of-the-art structures, bringing our township into the present and brilliant future. Drexel Line Shopping Center, the Aronimink Elementary School expansion, the coming community center on 69th Street, the coming middle school on Clifton Heights, etc. Democrats are actually doing great things in this township that Makosi could only dream of. And somehow, Brian Burke, Laura Wentz, and Matt Silva, all labor people, have made the idiotic decision to not only turn their backs on their union brothers and sisters, but to intentionally make their lives of their union brothers and sisters unnecessarily difficult. You can see it on Brian Burke and Laura Wentz and Matt Silva's faces every council meeting. They constantly show a feeling of superiority, while legitimately worried employees are forced to beg for their paychecks every council meeting. The workers are concerned about rising inflation, feeding their families, paying their mortgages and rent, putting gas in their vehicles, while Laura Wentz, Brian Burke, Matt Silva continue to hold up the ARPA funding because of their own greedy political ambitions. I have lived in the township for more than a decade, and throughout that time have heard residents say that the property taxes are too high and there is no room in the township to build anything. Mayor Keffer and other true Democrats are leading the way, showing that there is plenty room to build the future of Upper Darby, that the township can be transformed. These days, since Mayor Keffer got elected and having a democratically elected school board, I have been continuously hearing a new tune. Folks are saying that the property taxes are higher in Upper Darby, but it's worth it.
It's 7:54. We started at 7:20. We said it at 7:20. It's 7:54.
All right, so we're at 7:54. Secretary Billups is, I'm going to take the next two speakers due to a pause in my understanding that we have a court reporter for the planning and zoning. So I'm going to take the next, that's my call. We're taking the next two speakers, and then that will be the 30 minutes.
I just wanted to know how many speakers are left.
Okay, I'm sorry.
How many are left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
That's great. And the Councilman Tunis. So I'm saying the next two speakers because
So 7 people won't get the opportunity to speak and voice their concerns.
Councilman Tunis, I believe.
Can I make a motion to extend the public comment?
Tunis, I believe you have 4.0 in front of you. Okay?
Robbing the community of opportunity.
Okay. So I'm going to allow the next two speakers. I have no idea who the next two speakers are, and I'm going to allow them due to me taking a break to talk to Alexis to clear something up. So I'm going to allow the next two speakers, and then we will ask about the 30 minutes. Secretary Billups, please.
Next is Arlise White.
Good evening. My name is Arlise White. I live at 518 Glendale Road. I just first want to say that this is my first council meeting, and I am very disappointed in the actions and just overall behavior of everyone. I just wanted to say that. What I'm here for is because we just started a neighborhood association in Stonehurst, and we wanted to start cleaning up our neighborhood. And we would like the supplies to do so. And I just wanted to know if that is available to us.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, oh, you don't want me to respond back to people? Sorry.
I'll allow it. Go ahead. Make it quick.
Yeah.
I'm allowed.
So I did talk to, I'm Counselor at Large Billups, and I was at that meeting.
Oh, yeah, you were.
So, and it was a great first start, so thank you. I have to talk to the people in the Recreation Department. Is that right, Councilwoman Blackwell? Yes. Yeah. And we're gonna make that happen. Okay?
Okay, how soon? How soon?
Oh.
Well, get an email train down.
Huh?
She just wants, when can you guys get together soon? That's all.
I'm gonna talk to Councilwoman Blackwell because
Okay.
that's her thing, and I'm gonna talk to her, and then and I'll get back in touch with
You'll get
Michelle.
in touch with Michelle?
Yes.
Okay, thank you
Yes.
very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Next is Terry Johnson.
Good evening. Terry Johnson, 7022 Ruskin Lane. I just have more like a general question. From watching these council proceedings the last few months, I just want to know how much is the cost of this, of an investigation into these funds, then the subsequent other investigation into the investigation, and then the pending legal fight that's going to be on the burden of the township residents. I mean, if at some point that you guys can kind of give us a total of how much this contest is going to cost us, me as a taxpayer would like to know, I mean, what is it really for? I mean, what's the end game of this? It just bothers me that other agenda items have been held up for months on end while we keep arguing over these funds and these investigations, and no one seems to have any end to it. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Now, as I let the last two speakers speak, we are now past the 30 minutes of public forum. Take a roll call vote to extend for the next 6 or 7 speakers. And if any, we'll take a roll call vote to extend it.
Point of order, President Burke. I'd like to, could we have some comment, discussion on the matter before we have the vote?
Okay. Well, all right. Does anybody want to make a motion to extend the public forum? Yes or no?
I will. I'll be happy to make that motion.
To extend it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And Drusko seconded.
First and seconded by Silva and Druska. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we have enough ayes, so continue.
Okay. Next is Raya.
Raya Fag, 7022 Ruskin Lane. Unlike this young lady here, this is not my first meeting, and I'm appalled at all of your behavior, appalled and embarrassed. But that's not what I came up here to say. I came to thank you for fixing the parking spot at Ruskin and Timberlake. Thank you very much. That prevents us from getting tickets. I'm also here to extend an invitation to you to the Welcome Center. On June 23rd at 6 p.m., the USCIS will be there to go over all things naturalization. Everything from the applications, the interview, and your rights and responsibilities as a citizen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Council President, I'm sorry. Could, Ms. Fag, could you give us a time for the 23rd?
6 p.m. It's at the Watkins Center.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Next is Michelle Schofield.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michelle Schofield, 519 Millbank Road. It's been a while since I've been in this room for a meeting, and I share the same sentiments that others as far as the embarrassment and my stomach hurts right now because of just what I'm witnessing here, Brian Burke, you said if there was one more outburst from the audience, that the person was going to be removed, and you did not even stick to that policy. I would like for you to just, in the future, I mean, even when I watch this on YouTube, just handle the crowd a little bit more. So that's what I just asked of you to do. I really came here today to say thank you. I don't have a complaint. I came to say thank you, and I now live here in the 6th District, and I started the Stonehurst Hills Neighborhood Association. We had our first meeting on Monday. We had about 70 people in attendance. And even with some of my residents and my neighbors that came, Rick, Sharon, Bryant, Monica, Arlise, Terry, Rhea, we all live right here in the 6th District, and I sent out text messages. Some of them probably had their own agenda, was going to come anyway, but I would like to start to fill this room up with more people from Stonehurst Hills. So I want to say thank you, Mayor, for coming to the meeting. I know that you can only stay for a little bit, so in your defense, I noticed someone said that you left before anyone could speak, but you told me in advance that you could only be there for a little bit because you had a prior engagement, but you wanted to be there to support. So I thank you, and I just wanted to clear that up for everybody that's listening, that that is why you left early. Councilwoman Billups, thank you so much for being a neighbor and a supporter of this movement of, creating this association. I know that there was one here before and it died off. I tend to do things a little bit differently to make sure that this actually lives on for other residents in this neighborhood to be able to benefit from what we're going to do here in Stonehurst Hills Neighborhood Association. I'm sorry, did I miss you, Sadiq? I know that you had a conflict in your schedule, and I did extend that to the people that was present there. So I just wanted to also say thank you to the Holy Ghost Jesus House of Prayer Church that hosted our meeting, because we didn't really have a meeting space until they opened up their church and allowed us to be there. So again, I just want to say thank you guys for supporting me. We're there. This neighborhood association is actually being birthed from pain, and because there was a shooting in my driveway. And so I feel the need to have to do something, and I'm no longer going to live in fear and frustration. So now I'm speaking up, and I just want to encourage other neighbors who's watching, who is here to live in the 6th District, that we now have a voice, and we're going to stand together, as I challenge them to stand together and to raise the bar for the 6th District so that we can start to have a better quality of life, safety, more public education, and to get things done. And so even with the funds that needs to be released, these funds can actually start to benefit the 6th District. So please, if we can just get along so that we can all benefit from our tax dollars and you guys working together, I'm just begging you to please just work together so that we can move forward and have a safer community.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. You have a great name. Next is Renee Waring.
Yes, my name is Renee Waring, 562 Millbank Road, and I was at that meeting on Monday. And I think it was a beautiful beginning, and I'm very happy. I've been living at 562 Millbank Road since 1994. And I was hoping that our community could come together. I really was. And I feel encouraged that we're going to do something, a safer neighborhood, a cleaner neighborhood, more camaraderie and things of that nature. So I had a wonderful time at the meeting, and I pray that we can just continue to grow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Next is Corey. Hi.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Corey. I'm here to represent Rudy's Tavern at 7160 Marshall Road. I'm here just for suggestions of how we can make the tavern a little better. I know we have lots of complaints from the neighbors and things going on and the shooting that happened last year. So we're just here because we're all neighborhood employees. We all live in the neighborhood. And we would like to keep our bar open. So if you guys can give us suggestions of what we can do to make it better, that's what I'm here for.
What's the name of the bar?
Rudy's Tavern, 7160 Marshall Road.
You say it.
Yeah, we'll take it to the administration and hopefully get back to you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Good quick question.
Sure.
Just,
Sure.
is the contact information for Corey on that, on the sign-in sheet?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. Is this your address? You don't have the address to the bar? Or is this the address to the bar? Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Were you looking for like an email or a phone number?
Mm-hmm. Is there an email or phone number on there?
If you could leave it.
Next is Bonnie Hallam.
Bonnie Hallam, 4719 Woodland Avenue, Drexel Hill, PA. I want to echo the sentiment that this has been an embarrassing meeting, both with the public and with our council. And I hope that we can get it together for another time. I also want to say that there's been a lot of untruths that I've heard that really need to get straightened out. I'm not, first of all, let me just explain one thing. I know that the solicitor has recused himself from anything having to do with the investigation into the handling of the ARPA funds, but he and his firm has not recused himself from being the counsel for the township, the council, and for us. And I think that when our council says something, the council should be listened to and not somebody else who might think that they have all of the answers about the law, stepping in to say that our counselor doesn't know what he or she is talking about. They have not recused themselves from being the representative of our council, of our mayor, of our administration, and of our people. Only the investigation. So let's get that straight so that everybody understands that. The second thing that I want to say is that I have people up on the dais who are supposed to be representing my views. They've been elected. I have my own personal council person in the 1st District up there. There are other council people who are representatives at large, and they are supposed to be also representing my views. My view is that this administration has been doing an amazing job. In 2 years of a pandemic that they have been elected, they have done so many things to benefit this township. And we need to start talking up all of the excellent things that are happening in our township now. And talking about the homeless people. We are getting a homeless shelter in this township because our mayor went to the county and asked them to put it here in our township. Yes, yes, that's the truth. That's the truth. That's the truth. And we need to understand the good things that are going on. I appreciate the people who come up here and who have issues that they want to bring before council. I think that that's important and we should listen to them. But I also think that people should also come up here and appreciate what's good about this township, about what was good before Mayor Keffer got into office, but was also good now that she is in office and that she and her administration is doing a great job. And I think both sides should be represented. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Allen.
Next is Tim Toonstra.
Tim Toonstra, 610 Foss Avenue. I don't know why this happens. You learn how to speak into a microphone. I would like to thank the first couple of people who spoke simply because they were bringing up incredibly important issues. And I think that kind of maybe can help remind all of us what we're here for, whether we're just part of the audience or whether we're serving the township. And that is to get things done for the benefit of the people of this township. And we can do a better job when we stop fighting over things that would be best solved in person, face to face, with the people who disagree with one another, learning to listen better, listen better. Relative to the first two people who spoke, Councilor Heyman made mention earlier at an earlier township council meeting that there are parks in this township that are not as good as others. I happen to live in a neighborhood where the parks are excellent. And I think it is intolerable that every other park in Upper Darby Township is not every bit as good as the one where I live. And whatever needs to be done, I ask you to end this frankly idiotic, inexcusable battle you're having and focus instead on having the same level of parks and services to all the people of Upper Darby Township, not just some. And I thank you for that.
Thank you. Next is Becky Dugan.
So Becky Duggan, 129 North Pennock Avenue. I'm going to talk about something a little different for a second. Obviously, speeding and careless driving is a huge issue in this township, as many people saw this morning. I know many people have come here, residents, and implored the council to implement some sort of speed control devices on the streets, and we're told it's not good for the trash trucks, it's not good for the fire trucks. I can tell you for a fact, by the time the trash trucks and the fire trucks especially, get into the neighborhoods where the streets are this tight with cars parked, they're not speeding anywhere. Cars can speed through there and almost hit children easily, but fire trucks aren't. I know for a fact they're implemented in the city of Philadelphia and in Radnor Township because I've experienced them. Spruce Street has them on between 58th and 55th, 55th and 58th Street in Philadelphia. So there's no reason why we cannot perhaps, even for a temporary point, put some sort of speed tables or something in to save maybe one child's life, keep one person's kid from getting hit by a car, because kids don't look to see if it's safe to cross the street. My second question is, I've noticed that things were torn down at the southwest corner of Pennock Avenue. And I know you don't answer questions, that's great, that's fine. But maybe Danielle or Laura can answer me later and tell me what's going to go there. If you don't want to answer now, that's fine, I have something else I could say.
Mayor, do you have an answer for that?
Well, okay. I don't know if anything is going there. I know that nothing has been brought before, any land development has not been brought before the planning commission
So it's
to
just going to
discuss.
stay an open lot.
I can look into it more. I don't have a better answer than the one I
Okay.
just gave you right now.
So
That's-
we'll have the
that's-
mayor get back to Councilwoman and Councilwoman at large and try to get you some information over the next couple of days.
That's fine. And then as far as the CAO's issue goes, part of the thing of his qualifications is to willfully violate any express substantive prohibitive of this charter. One of his duties is to maintain accounting system and accounting records, maintain budgetary records, and assure that all expenditures are in accordance with the budget. The fact that last week that the councilman here and the other one, I don't remember your name, so sorry, asked him specific questions about the budget, and he said, I don't know until I get an audited financial statement. How in the world can you run a township if you don't know how much money you have until you get an audited financial statement? I certainly hope he doesn't work in the private sector because he'd get fired quicker than he can get fired here.
Thank you. Next is Tina Hamilton.
Good afternoon. Tina Hamilton, 4715 Woodland Avenue.
Michelle, I'm sorry, who was the last person? What was your name? President, what was the last person's name? I didn't get it, please.
Duggan. Becky Duggan.
And what was the address? So
I'll give it to you. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
We need to make sure that-
Okay, we ready? I don't know if we're ready yet. How you doing?
Sorry.
Okay, so we had an event on the 5th. I'd like to thank everybody who showed. I really appreciate the ones that did. There's your little paperwork that you need there, Daniel.
I'm sorry, Ms. Hamilton, can you start?
Yeah,
over?
I'm just gonna start all over.
That's my fault.
Just go ahead, he's done?
That's my fault. Go ahead, Ms. Hamilton.
Okay. So I wanted to thank everybody who was there for me on the 5th for our event. It was really a good event that we had at the cemetery, nice walk. I know some couldn't make it, but a good group came. Thank you. I appreciate it. We had a great turnout, nice walk. It really turned out to be a decent day until you hit the sun. It was pretty hot. All right, so now that I got that out of the way, this issue with this investigation is a joke. The fact that he's still sitting up there is a joke, and it's the honest to God truth. The man doesn't have a job, yet I'm wondering if you're paying him for the last 2 weeks, because he shouldn't even be here, shouldn't be up there. I mean, it's just really, in my opinion, for the percentage of people that are on that thought process, this man doesn't have a job. But yet he's in the township, handling tons of our money, which has been proven that he don't know what he's doing there, okay? And he's still sitting up there. It's crazy. I just don't understand how that is. Then I want to backtrack for what Bonnie had to say and openly say, you had nothing to do with that homeless shelter. I don't know why she thinks you did, but you didn't, because I know what we went through to try and get that ball rolling, and you weren't part of it. Part of the zoning, you weren't part of it. Part of any conversation, you weren't part of it. So Bonnie's got to get her story straight too, because she's getting lied to. So you got to work for everybody? Yeah, everybody, including the ones that don't agree with you, including the ones that don't agree with her. I mean, we could all live together, but it's not always going to be peaceful. I get along fine with a bunch of Democrats, and I'm very much Republican. I have no problem with that. I don't ask a single soul if they're Democrat. Never. I just do my thing. I don't care. I care about integrity and the individuals that you are. If I don't see integrity, I got a problem. I have a real problem. I don't see integrity with you, and I definitely don't see it with him. I see cockiness with him, but I have not seen integrity. I see smirking and everything else. Where's the integrity? People just need to know how to get along. I don't think there'd be a problem if we could get to the bottom of what was going on, and then that's not hanging over anybody's head at all. We know monies were moved. We just want to know where they were moved to and who did what with what and be done with it and move on. It's, to me, seems so simple, could make so many things peaceful. It's not like you have just a bunch of, let's say, Republicans standing up and they have an issue. This is bipartisan. This is all across the board. To get this township working, everybody needs to work together. And the only way that's going to happen is to clear this up. Whether you like it or not, whether you like it or not, whether you like it or not, doesn't really matter. We, as township people, or citizens that voted everybody in, we need answers. Because this is a joke that when we come up here, it really is. It shouldn't be like this, ever. You can't respect when somebody else speaks. You got to jump in when somebody else speaks. I mean, this goes on all day long. It's just
Excuse me,
really
Ms.
sad.
Hamilton. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
That's it.
All right. Thank you, Secretary Phillips, and the 18 speakers that came tonight. As I said before, I am going to move 9.2, Culture Competency Committee, Chairwoman Michelle Phillips, and the Resolution 25-2 ahead of schedule.
Yeah,
Are you okay with that,
sure,
Councilwoman Phillips? Thank you.
sure.
So we'll have
A reading?
Yes.
Council,
Oh,
I'm sorry,
I'm
Council,
sorry.
Councilman Tunis.
Councilman Tunis, go ahead.
I was just questioning, as far as the resolution, the constituents that can speak, they have to be a resident of Upper Darby Township, right, to speak on the resolution? I'm just trying to get clarity.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what the public forum is for. For the ordinance,
Yeah.
there has to be a public hearing on the ordinance.
But this is just a
Right, it's a
resolution.
This is a resolution.
This is just
So
a
public forum accounts for comment on the resolution.
Yeah. Okay,
All right, so I guess we'll
Can we
get a
get a
reading.
reading?
Get a reading
Yeah,
of
please.
25-2, please.
Okay. Has there been, do you want me to just read it before a motion in a second to adopt it, or would you?
yeah.
Okay, got it. A resolution of Upper Darby Township, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, in celebration of Juneteenth Independence Day, recognizing June 19th, 1865, the date on which news of the end of slavery reached the enslaved people in the southwestern states, whereas our nation was conceived on July 4, 1776, with the Declaration of Independence, the classic statement being, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. They're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And whereas notwithstanding such self-evident truths, between 1525 and 1866, an estimated 12.5 million men, women, and children were captured and forcibly transported in their bondage from their African homelands to North America, the Caribbean, South America, according to the Transatlantic Slave Trade Database, many of whom did not survive. Whereas the transatlantic slave trade represents one of the longest and most sustained assaults of the life, integrity, and dignity of human beings in history, and is one of the greatest tragedies in the history of humankind. Whereas on 2 p.m. on New Year's Day, January 1st, 1863, using his war powers as president, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, providing that all persons held as enslaved people within any rebel state known as the Confederacy shall be then therefore and forever free. And whereas news or enforcement of the Emancipation Proclamation did not reach the frontier, in particular the state of Texas and other southwestern states, until Union troops commanded by Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston on June 19th, 1865, more than 2 years after President Lincoln issued his Emancipation Proclamation announcing the end of the Civil War and issuing General Order Number 3, which proclaimed all enslaved people to be free, including absolute equality and personal rights, where slavery as an institution was officially abolished in all states with the ratification of the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution on December 6, 1865. And whereas on June 19, 2019, Governor Wolf signed House Bill 619,
also recognizing June 19th as Juneteenth Independence Day in Pennsylvania, in honor of the memory, resilience, courage, and determination of enslaved persons and all Americans, living and dead, who embody Dr. King's quote, "None are free until all are free," and further recognizing that the abolition of slavery is part of the history and heritage of the Commonwealth, and encouraging the continued celebration and observance of Juneteenth Independence Day with appropriate ceremonies, activities, and programs. Whereas on June 17, 2021, President Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act, making June 19th a legal public holiday. Juneteenth is the day that commemorates the emancipation of enslaved African Americans in the United States. Now therefore be it resolved by Upper Darby Township Council proclaiming its support for celebrating Juneteenth Independence Day on June 19, 2002, with its federal observance on June 20th, 2022, recognizing the historical significance of Juneteenth Independence Day and supporting the continued celebration of Juneteenth Independence Day to provide an opportunity for all people to learn more about the past and to understand better the experience that have shaped our nation, the Commonwealth, and our township, as well as the continuing journey and struggle for freedom and equality in the United States. Adopted and resolved this 15th day of June, 2022. Brian Burke, President of Council.
I make a motion to approve.
Second, what you do?
So we have a motion to approve by Councilwoman Blackwell and second by Councilwoman Vice President Wentz. Solicitor Kilkenny, thank you for that reading. Couldn't get that in.
Actually, I didn't second it. I thought Ms.
I'm sorry.
Billups seconded
I'm
it.
sorry.
I just
Okay.
have a,
Okay. You have a question?
actually, I'd like to make a slight amendment to this to remove CA Rangione from the signing of this. Can I say something? So it's my opinion that
Sure.
council's not supposed to be directing the administration. I think that's in the home rule charter. And I think this is unnecessary. Under the home rule charter, we voted that he forfeited his position. We followed the home And rule I charter. contest that. He still works for Upper Darby. He's still a CAO.
Thank you, Mayor Keffer. Thank you. Would you like, Vice President Wentz?
No, I mean, we kind of went through this before. I don't want to belabor the point. You understand, President Burke asked my opinion. It was on a different previous matter. I understand council has a difference of opinion. There's a dispute in court. Until the Court of Common Pleas decides that, this issue, Mr. Rangione is serving as CEO. That's my opinion, but I know council differs.
Well, if I don't get a second, then I don't get a second. It's just
Okay.
my motion. And I haven't gotten a second.
All right.
Yeah, I second it.
Do we have a second?
I did.
Okay, so we have a second. Council, any comments? I see Councilman Hamey, go ahead.
Like I said in the
Next,
Oh.
actually. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
You're
That's
right.
fine. That's fine.
Councilman Silva, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make a suggestion if I could. I mean, it would appear to me that the person who's attesting is sort of bearing witness. I would ask if it would be possible if we could have a member of the township be on there as well. Mr. Bly has really done more to promote this Juneteenth, and to be honest, he's really educated me on it, and I absolutely positively appreciate that. And I mean, as a child growing up, I was not aware of this holiday at all, and that is something I do not wish to repeat with my own progeny, and I thank him for doing that. And it would mean a lot to me if we could have him be a witness to this proclamation and this resolution.
Thank you, Councilman Silva. So before I get to Councilman Hayman, I'm going to defer to the mayor and the solicitor on that.
My opinion has not changed. I'm not going to, belabor
Okay.
it.
Yep.
I don't want to
Mhm.
argue with council any further.
No,
when I'm
no,
saying where I
absolutely.
stand.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't wish to argue either, but Vince Rangione is the CAO. And he signed every resolution, ordinance, whatever, since he started 2.5 years ago.
I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, you would just like to add Mr. Bly to the signature?
Yeah, it's not to remove anyone or something else, but I would like to add Mr. Bly, just because I know that this has been a very personal thing for him and his organization, Jace, and he's done a lot to promote it. And I don't think we'd be talking about it today if it wasn't for him.
Perhaps,
I just wanted to clarify that, Councilman Silva, that's what you were asking for, and not a removal, but just to add Mr. Bly. Solicitor, you have the floor.
maybe we can put in, you have Mr. Rangione, obviously, you heard that. Perhaps a way to recognize Mr. Bly is we can add an additional whereas clause to this resolution acknowledging Mr. Bly's, involvement in educating the community on this issue. And I think that would be. perhaps a
I
way to-
agree with that. I agree with that. Adding a whereas clause saying that Mr. Bly was instrumental in bringing this
That's
to.
what I said. I said in the whereas clause.
So,
Yeah, no, I got it.
I'm sorry, if
so-
I could, well, I guess there is a motion on the floor, so maybe once that's done, I'd like to make that motion.
Sure. Councilman Silva, go ahead.
There's a motion on the floor, it's my understanding.
Okay, we're still at, Councilman Siddiq.
I think it's a matter of residency, the township residency. I believe Mr. Bly, he don't live in Upper Darby. So put in Upper Darby business matter, we should see the home rule charter.
Please, I'd like to hear Councilman Siddiq and everybody else up here, please. Thank you.
I believe so.
Thank you, Councilman Siddiq.
Nah, it might be in the administrative.
And thank you, Councilwoman Phillips. And Councilman Heyman, did you have something to say?
I got that too here. Got 'em all.
I don't agree that Mr. Rangione should be removed. I've said in previous meetings how I feel and that I think this ends up in court. Either way, it already is at court. As I suggested, I think we can discuss that at another time. But I think that taking what is a functionally, is an administrative matter and making it the thing that you put out in front of recognizing Juneteenth is extremely inappropriate. I think we need to move forward on the original ordinance. If you would like to, okay, the original resolution. Thank you. I'm speaking Vice President Wentz or perhaps President Wentz. I'm not sure. But I think that we need to move forward on this resolution as it is written. If the Vice President Wentz or some other member of council is offended by that, that can be addressed later on.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for speaking.
Very,
Hold
very
on, hold on.
briefly.
Vice President Wentz, go ahead. You had you up, and then Councilwoman Wagner.
So, yes, there is a court date scheduled for the 22nd of this month. So I will at the moment rescind my motion in order to be able to move this resolution forward with respect to this resolution being as important that it is. But I want to acknowledge the fact that according to council, we believe that we removed him of his duties at the last meeting, declaring him forfeit of his position because he was unqualified. I just need to clarify that. So I just wanted to make that statement, but I will rescind the motion so that this resolution could move forward.
Okay, so at this present point, Councilwoman, Vice President Wentz, you have rescind. I believe second was Councilwoman Farrelly. Do you agree with that? Okay. Now I will go to Councilwoman Wagner.
At the moment, just very briefly, I find it completely necessary to address what Mr. Siddiq just said about Mr. Bly. Nobody can argue with the fact that he is the reason that Juneteenth is celebrated in Upper Darby Township. Not one single person can argue with that. And he continues to do it. I frankly don't care where he lives. He brought that to Upper Darby Township for the betterment of Upper Darby Township. So I agree with Councilman Silva. He deserves that credit and that thanks, frankly.
Thank you, Councilman. So Councilman Hayman, the last comment you had was on moving this forward. Both Councilwoman Farrelly and Councilwoman Wentz have rescinded that. At this present point, I'm sorry, Councilman.
Now, I'd like to, now that the other motion has been removed, if it be at all possible, I'd like to formally make a motion to add Mr. Bly to this document when it's passed as a witness.
Second.
Okay. So we have first and second, and any questions? Okay, Councilman Hayman. Excuse me.
Sorry.
Excuse me, Secretary Belps. I called on Councilman Hayman. I'll get you next. Just slap me on.
I got
told
you. I got you.
Before Councilman Hayman, we'll let Solicitor Kilkenny go. Is
Just
that
make
okay?
a suggestion for efficiency. There was a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Perhaps there could be an amendment accepted to that to say that in the whereas clauses, it will be acknowledged that Mr. Bly's contribution for bringing about awareness in Upper Darby Township for Juneteenth, and then vote on that so we don't have two separate motions. If everyone understands.
Is everybody okay with the amended version from Solicitor Kilkenny?
Yes.
I have no concern with that, but I do still have a comment.
Go ahead.
So President Burke, and I want to take a moment to say, Mr. Bly and I probably don't agree on a lot of things, but I absolutely can acknowledge that he's been instrumental in discussing Juneteenth, bringing that forward before council. It's something that I agree with him wholeheartedly on, and I appreciate him for supporting. I don't want my statement to be taken as being against that amendment to the resolution. All I would ask is that I would like the committee that brought this resolution forward to be given the opportunity to speak on the amendment prior to me voting on that amendment.
Sure. Okay. So, Chairwoman, Councilwoman Belps.
Thank you. So I'm all for it by adding the whereas clause because, you know, I remember that day at Stonehurst, Rich Bly, that you came to me with the Juneteenth proclamation. You know, I know my history. I am aware of it, and I do appreciate that. So I'm okay with having the whereas. I'm a history major, so I know about it. So, and like I told you that day, so I'm okay with adding the whereas clause. I think we can add the education piece that you were saying, Solicitor Kilkenny, and as him bringing the education piece to Upper Darby. I'm okay with that. So I'm just going to ask everyone that's on the committee, are you okay with that?
Councilman Silva, go ahead.
Yeah, I would. And I mean, as I sort of already stated, are we speaking to the amendment or to the actual?
Yes.
Yeah, I would, well, I mean, yes, I am very much, and from like the opposite end of the spectrum, you made me more aware of this, and I appreciate that more than anything, because there's a lot of our history that is lost. And this is an opportunity for us as council to unearth some of that history, and you, sir, have been a great part of that, and I certainly want your name recognized for it.
Well, as long as people continue to do diversity and inclusion, then I'm all for it. A lot of our committees too, I'm just saying.
Want to check with the rest of your committee? Want to check with the rest of your committee?
I'm sorry. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, like Councilman Hayman said, like, I don't always agree with Mr. Bly on everything, but I do think he educated a lot on our community, especially on history that was whitewashed in American society. So I have no problem with him being on the whereas clause, whereas part, and I think that he has educated a lot of people in the township and educated people how much of our history has been whitewashed. And it's continuing to be whitewashed, and some of that is happening on council, but nonetheless, I'm going to support this.
Thank you. Councilwoman Blackwell?
So I'm a little surprised that my friend and fellow councilman didn't know as much about June 10th until Mr. Bly. Um, That's all I want to say. We can continue and move along and forward, but I'm here as a councilwoman. I know my history. I believe in my history. We can always talk, and I can educate you firsthand, take you into the neighborhoods. I can show you what goes on today, whenever you want, tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Okay.
Did you have another comment, Councilman Silva?
Oh, yeah, I thought we were polling the members of our committee first,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, I apologize if
We were.
that offended you, my ignorance.
Apologies, no apologies at all. It's
I'm
fine. I
sorry.
just want to say,
Sadiq.
we're here as council.
I was trying to
You're
be
fine.
honest.
But thank you, it's okay. No,
Councilman Silva, we're going to move on.
If I could
Councilwoman
finish,
Blackwell,
that'd
thank
be
you.
great. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Councilman Sadiq, Councilman Sadiq, are you okay with this?
Yes, being part of this committee, I don't have any problem or issue with Mr. Bly because me also talk many times. He also tell me, educate me about the June 10th. My concern was if non-resident could be put in our official document. If the home rule charter allow it, I don't have any problem with that one. That's the question I was asking to our solicitor.
I
It
think
is
the
nothing
issue-
to do with against Richard Bly.
I think the issue's been solved because
Mr. Bly, please,
we're
please.
recognizing Mr.
Solicitor
Bly.
has it.
We're recognizing Mr. Bly's contributions under the whereas clauses, so I think the issue is solved, Council.
Thank
Yeah.
thank you,
Good
Solicitor.
enough.
Thank you, Solicitor Kilkenny. We have a motion on the floor. We have a first and second. And, I'm calling for a vote.
Yeah.
As amended, as
amended.
the solicitor said. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
nays? Thank you. Resolution 25-22 passes. As amended. So as the council meeting has been going on tonight, I'm going to make another move.
Order. Were we not recording before? It just told us that they're recording right now. Were we not recording prior to this moment?
I think we're recording. I mean, I saw the light up there, so.
We would have
just-
gotten
Okay.
many
It just,
messages.
it
if
just
So-
said it was recording.
So as this council meeting has been a little different, excuse me. Thank you. I'm going to make another move, and we're going to go to 9.1, Planning, Zoning, and Building Code Committee, and we're going to move that up because we have a public hearing and we have a recording secretary for this public hearing, or a court reporter, I'm sorry, for this. So we will take ordinance 3116, Solicitor Kilkenny. Can I get a reading? And this will be,
Yeah, so there'll be a reading and then an opportunity for a public hearing on this ordinance. I believe Mr. Josh is available
For
as well,
question, yep.
if there are additional questions.
that's correct.
All right, okay. Now therefore, Upper Darby Township Council ordains and enacts as follows. It's the intent of this administration pursuant to the provisions of Upper Darby Township Home Rule Charter, Administrative Code, and various ordinance. The zoning officer is now responsible for zoning enforcement to regulate the materials, location, height, and maintenance of fences in order to prevent the creation of nuisances and preserve the visual character of Upper Darby residential neighborhoods, and where necessary, that the operators and/or participants in these activities obtain certain licenses and permits or be charged certain fees from Upper Darby Township. Section 2, Section 550-39B, placement of fences is amended as follows. 1, fences shall not be constructed, erected, and/or maintained in the front yard of any lot, tract, or parcel of land located in an RC, RC1, R1, or R2 residential district. However, if within an RC, RC1, R1, or R2 residential district, the lot is a corner lot which abuts on more than one street, a fence with a maximum height of 6 feet may be erected in any front yard which does not abut the street, which is designated by the United States Postal Service as the address of the lot. The postal address shall not be changed to circumvent this requirement.
Only one side of a corner lot may be considered as the front yard. Such fence shall not extend beyond the front building wall of the structure facing the street of address. 3, fences shall not extend into the street right-of-way and shall be located at least 1 foot from the right-of-way line. 5, swimming pools, both public and private, shall be surrounded by fences regulated by the currently adopted version of the International Property Maintenance Code. 6, fences are prohibited from dividing a shared driveway. 7, in the R3 district, rear yard fences must be no closer than 3 feet from a shared driveway. Section 3, Section 550-39C, fence height is amended as follows. 1, front yard fences are prohibited from being located directly above retaining walls and must be set back no less than 6 inches. 4, retaining walls under 4 feet in height shall require a fence permit and not a building permit. Retaining walls over 4 feet in height shall require a building permit. Section 4, Section 550-39D3 is hereby stricken. Section 5, Section 550-39D, fence materials is amended as follows. Non-residential fences, landscape walls, and decorative posts may be constructed of wood, stone, brick, concrete, wrought iron, chain link, and wire mesh. 4, residential fences, landscape walls, and decorative posts may be constructed of wood, stone, brick, vinyl, and wrought iron unless otherwise noted in this chapter. 5, any fence erected which is made of a metal fabric or which is partially made of any metal fabric shall be galvanized or otherwise treated to prevent the formation of rust, and the metal used in the fabric shall be at least 11 gauge or heavier unless it is subject to the provisions of Section 9 regarding the gauge of metal fences and pools. 6, chain link fences are only allowed in rear yards and side yards with the exception of R3 and R4 zones. 7, front yard hedges may be maintained and should be set back no less than 1 foot from the pedestrian right-of-way. Corner lots are considered to have 2 front yards, and therefore each front yard hedge must be set back no less than 1 foot from the pedestrian right-of-way. 8, electrified fencing is hereby prohibited. 9, the finished side of the fence or side without posts should be facing away from the dwelling or building. Section 6, Section 550-39E, temporary fences is amended as follows. Temporary fencing, including the use of wood or plastic snow fences for the purposes of limiting snow drifting between November 1st and April 1st, protection of excavation and construction sites, and the protection of plants during grading, construction, and during special events is permitted for up to 60 consecutive days. Section 7, Section 550-39F, nonconforming fence is amended as follows. Nonconforming fences may be repaired or replaced as long as the degree of nonconformity is not increased. Section 8, Section 550-39G, maintenance is added. All fences shall be maintained in a sturdy and good condition. Fences which become loose, rusted or rotted, whether in whole or in part, shall be repaired, replaced, or removed. Good condition includes removal of deteriorating or rusting pieces, painting, removal of dangerous protrusions, and other conditions deemed dangerous to the zoning officer. Section 9, Section 550-39I, variance is added. Any property owner or tenant desiring to erect a fence or maintain a fence which does not conform to the provisions of this chapter may apply for a variance from the zoning hearing board of the township. 2, all requests for variance shall be proceeding to the procedures and governing provisions of the zoning code. Section 10, Section 550-39J, fees is added. And 10 is recognized that a certain increased expenditure of time and money by the township is is carrying out the above duties, and the township desires to recover such costs by changing license and permit fees to applicants to recover administrative expenses only. 2, a fence permit is required for the erection and construction of any new fence as well as replacement of an existing fence. There is a violation clause, a repealer clause, a severability clause, an effective date. Also, too, I want to enter a couple things into the record. I'll have marked as T1 a copy of the advertisement of this in our newspaper of general circulation. T2, copies of recommendation by both the Delaware County Planning Department and our own Planning Commission and related to this ordinance this evening, just so that is in the record and has been duly advertised. Now I'd like to turn it over to President Burke to see if there are any comments or questions.
Okay. Thank you, Solicitor. We're going to go with anybody from the public would like to speak about this ordinance. Please come up front.
So you're opening the public hearing officially?
Yes, I'm opening the public hearing officially, yes.
Thank you.
Hello, Joanne Namavong, 133 North Pennock Avenue. You just read 4 pages of an ordinance, and I wanted to know which part of what you read is a change from what we've already had? Because I know we had ordinances about fences before. So what's different?
I think Josh may be in the best circumstance to actually thoroughly explain this.
Josh, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Thank you.
So there's a few sections that that were changed. I guess let's start with what was taken away. Section 550-39D3, which is the removing of non-conforming fences. Anything that has barbed wires, metal spikes, razor ribbons would allow someone to replace that fence that's 2 feet higher. So that was one of the things that the Planning Commission identified as something that something that they did not wish to continue. So they had that removed. Some of the other important things that were added were the fence not extending into the street right of way, be located at least 1 foot from that line. The amendment about swimming pools and compliance with the International Property Maintenance Code found on page 2. The provision about fences not splitting a shared driveway. And in the R-3 rear yard fences being no closer than 3 feet from the shared driveway. Also, there was language in there regarding an amendment talking about fence and wall height, because that was an issue we were having in L&I before, is any wall under 4 feet doesn't need a building permit. This way, at least we'll get to view it as a fence permit. And I'd say the biggest change of this ordinance is the fact that we're instituting a fence permit instead of right now, there is none. And sorry, that was just a very brief summary, but I hope that answered some of your questions.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else that has any questions, please come up.
So I have a question. I'm going to shock everybody. I don't know if I'm in R3 and R what residence, but it says here that the R3 district rear yard fences must be no closer than 3 feet from a shared driveway. My backyard abuts the back drive of the street behind me. That's not my driveway. It's their driveway. So my fence is closer than 3 feet. Will that be a problem?
So any existing fences would be considered existing nonconformities. I believe the intent of that was mostly to stop fences from leaning into those alleys that everyone uses, that our trash trucks try to get through, things of that nature. But any existing fences would be considered existing as of this date.
So if I need to repair my fence, will I be allowed to repair it?
That's correct. You just couldn't extend it further.
I don't want to extend it further and I'd be in someone else's
You just
driveway.
can't increase the nonconformity.
Right.
That's
Right. Okay.
But yep, you could repair.
Anybody else from the public? All right, seeing that we have nobody else from the public, I'll close the public comment and then we'll go to council. Okay? Councilwoman Wentz.
So Josh, just to kind of go on what you just said about what's already existing for the fences, does that apply for any bushes and so forth that are, so my bushes, I trimmed them back to get them off of the sidewalk to discover that they were planted right on the edge of the sidewalk. So in order to comply to this ordinance, I would have to completely remove them. So because they're already planted, it's grandfathered in, as long as I keep it trimmed back?
Yes, to an extent that it still complies with our other street ordinances that say you can't block the right of way.
Okay, and then for any new plantings of bushes along the front of someone's yard, they have to plant it at least a foot back from the sidewalk?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else from council?
I have one question about the rule against electrified fences. I know some pet owners use, like, I guess, a device for, yeah, it's like the invisible fence or something. Does that qualify as an electric fence or?
I would say unless it, what could hurt somebody, no. I wouldn't consider it that, but I could see where that could be, a point of contention or misleading.
Okay, so for the sake of this, it's probably a no. You're talking about like an electrified chain link fence or something of that
Yeah,
nature.
that I believe is the intent, or something you would use. Sometimes farms use to keep cows in, but not the not the kind with the dog shock collar or something like that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Councilman Silva. Councilman Heyman?
Can I make a motion to approve ordinance 3116?
We got a first and a second? Okay. All in favor to? Okay, so we're asking for a roll call. Secretary Billups, can I get a roll call? On ordinance 3116.
Hi, thank you. So this is a roll call on ordinance number 3116. Councilman Heyman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Blackwell,
Yes.
Councilman Andrusko,
Yes.
Councilman Siddiq,
Yes.
Councilwoman Faralia,
Yes.
Councilman Silva,
Yes.
Council President Burke,
Yes.
Councilwoman Billups is a yes, Councilwoman Wagner,
Yes.
Councilman Tunis,
You said Tunis?
Yes.
Yes, I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Council Vice President Wentz.
Yes.
It's 11-0.
11-0. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, President Burke.
Okay. So since we skipped all around,
President Burke, I have a motion at this time.
okay.
I see Mr. Rangione still joining us via Zoom. You don't have them quiet down the way, had everybody else quiet down.
Please respect Councilwoman Wagner, please.
We made a motion at the beginning of this meeting that he should not be here via Zoom. In addition to that, with all due respect to the mayor, I disagree. The majority of this council feels he is no longer the CAO. So as a result, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Councilwoman Wagner.
I'll second the motion.
So we have a first and second on adjourning the meeting.
Can I make one?
Sure, absolutely, Mayor.
So we have Donna Stillwell here from Brinker Simpson, and she's been running the finance department with her team. And she has a presentation, and I understand that you want to leave, and maybe you don't want me to give you the mayor's address, which is fine, but I would ask that you that you hear Ms. Stillwell, because she's been sitting here the whole time, and she put a PowerPoint presentation together. And I think it's important. It's something we talked about. Ms. Stillwell presented about 2 months ago, and we were going to have updates. So that's what I would respectfully ask council, to at least allow Ms. Stillwell to give her presentation and take questions from council.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Councilman Andrusko.
I agree, Mayor. I do think it's very important that we hear from Ms. Stillwell. I would make a motion to rescind if CEO or Mr. Rangione will respect our original decision and leave the meeting. If not, my second is still on the floor.
As we're open for comment, Councilman Tunis.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, how important are the residents, right? You guys are concerned about someone being in a meeting when you made an illegal motion that's not going to hold up in court. And we have residents here that need to know this information. They need to know these things. So I was elected to be here. So if you guys want to head home early, go to whatever bar you like to go to, that's fine. But we owe these residents our time to be here. We are elected, and they need this information.
Yeah.
And
And Councilman Tunis, I totally agree with you. But also, by the end of the meeting tonight, all that information will be online for all the other 80,000 residents that aren't here. Okay, so we have, excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me, Secretary Belps, we have a motion on the floor, first and second. I'm calling for a roll call. Thank you, to adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
Well, no, I'm raising my hand. No,
Ma'am.
because ain't no, because you know what? I've been very respectful of you and you have not been respectful of me. I'm tired of it, Brian Burke, President Burke. I'm tired of it.
Okay.
You know, you keep saying how it's nice to be nice, but you have not been nice to me. You have not been kind to me, and I've been kind to you.
And you jumped in front of everybody
And
tonight.
I raised my hand. No,
You have.
You know what?
You've cut Councilman Wagner, other people off tonight, so,
No, I haven't. No, I have not.
okay.
Don't
have a
be
motion.
Don't be changing the narrative around me.
I'm not going to change the
Because I
narrative.
do very well at listening. I heard you very well.
Okay, that's great. So we have a motion on the floor, and we're going to have a roll call. Motion to adjourn the meeting. Please.
What the
have a
hell?
roll
Because
call.
it's going to be 6-5.
We'll have a roll call, please.
Some bull crap. Counselor Heyman,
No.
Counselor Blackwell,
No.
Counselor Andrewsville,
Yes.
Counselor Sadiq,
Definitely not.
Counselor Faralia, Counselor Silver,
Yes.
Counselor President Burke,
Yes.
Counselor Billups is a definitely F no. Counselor
Excuse me,
well, you
that's-
know what?
that's
No,
profanity.
no, because you know what?
Finish the roll call, please.
I'm gonna finish the roll call, and I'm gonna say what I have to say, because I'm always quiet. I'm always the person of reason. But you know what? This is BS. This is BS. This woman sat here for all this long time. You're talking about being fiscally responsible, and you don't want to hear her? And you don't want to hear her? And nobody wants to hear her? Come on.
Finish the roll call, please.
I will.
Thank you.
I will. Councilwoman Wagner,
Yes.
Councilman Tunis,
No, I don't need to go to the bar.
Vice President Wentz.
Yes. Brian.
6-5.
6-5.
6-5.
Meeting is adjourned, 9:01.